Hey guys, it's Mrs. Lamphere. So my recording of the small group session that we had where we actually completed this last step of the project, for some reason the recording didn't work, so I'm going to do another kind of short recording here and just kind of go over what we did in that last video. So the last step of this process is to insert our navigation bar, which you'll see over here on the left. So what we need to do is make these buttons using that cooltext.com website that we've used before, and then inserting those buttons and linking them to the correct pages on each page. So let's get started. So I'm here on cooltext.com and I'm going to select this pink button. And on Cooltext, obviously we can change what the button says. So I'm going to change this to link to my first page, which will be my infant page. And I encourage you to kind of mess with some of the options here. You can change up the font. I actually went with typewriter style font. You can change with the font size. You can mess with the text color. You can mess with the button color and everything. One thing I mentioned in the small group session is that I like to turn the auto size off, and that way I can make all my buttons consistent, like I can make them consistently the same width. So I can set the size of my button. I can change the color to kind of match the color of my page. So you can adjust the colors, the text. So I encourage you to kind of just experiment with all of this. And once you get the button the way you like it, you'll go to Create Button. This all should kind of be somewhat familiar since we've created buttons before. And if you want to get advanced, you could do the rollover image, and it provides you with the code. But for time's sake, I'm just going to show the normal button image. So I'm going to download the button. And then I'm going to be storing these buttons. I need to get into my web design, my portfolio folder, Unit 6. So I have my images folder with all of my pictures from my different life stages stored in there. But what I did is I created a new folder called Buttons, and that's where I'm storing all my buttons. So I actually have all of mine created and saved within my Buttons folder. So you'll want to go in and save all of your buttons. So what you can do is after you've saved, and again, it depends on which browser you're using, but you can just drag and drop this file into your Unit 6 images button folder. And then just to keep everything consistent, what you can do is you can just back out of that download and type in your next button. So I need an infant button, a preschool button, and so then I can hit create button and download that button, and then I'll back up, or make sure you save, download image, and save that button, and then back up again, make your next button, which is going to be elementary school. Make sure you're spelling it correctly. So go through and create all your buttons, and make sure you're saving them all within your Unit 6 Images Buttons folder. And then let me just show you what all buttons you need. So you're going to need 7 buttons in total: an infant button, preschool, elementary school, middle school, current. Then you're also going to need a back to portfolio button, and you're also going to need a home button. So on our autobiography page, on the home page of our autobiography page, we're going to have a button that takes us back to our portfolio page, because like I said, for the very last step is we are linking our portfolio to our autobiography. So let me get my portfolio page open here. So you're also going to have to create another button We did have a button on here called Famous, but we actually didn't get to that project, so we're switching it out. And so on Cool Text, again, that Cool Text website, you're going to need to create another button that goes with your portfolio page that links to your autobiography. So I'll show you how to do that in the next step here. But so first, get all 7 of your buttons created. Again, infant, preschool, elementary, middle school, current, back to portfolio, and then your home button. So this home button, when I'm on these other pages, it's going to take me back to my autobiography homepage. So all of my other life pages, and I don't have them all in here yet, are going to have the home button, but the home page of the autobiography page is going to have a back to portfolio button. All right, so now that you have all of your buttons created, I'm going to show you how to insert those buttons and then link them to the appropriate pages. So first, I'm going to click in this first cell, and that's where my infant button is going to be. So I'm going to go to Insert, Image, and then I'm going to go find my infant button, which is located in my portfolio. And of course, it's going to be a little slow. Portfolio, Unit 6, Images, Buttons. I'm going to grab my infant button and hit Open. Make sure this box is always checked. Make URL relative to this page location. That needs to be checked. I also checked this one. I don't want to take the time to put in alternative text on all these buttons, so I'm going to check this box that just says allow for empty alternative text and hit OK, and then there's my infant button. So I'm going to go in and just insert all of my buttons since I'm in the button mode. So I have infant, next is preschool, all the way through to my current page. So I have all my page buttons inserted here now. Now I'm going to go in and insert my last one, which is that back to portfolio button. Okay, and then our next step then is to go through and link all of our buttons to the correct pages. So when I click on this infant button, I want to be taken to my infant page. So I'm going to click on that infant button. I'm going to go up to Insert, Link, and I'm going to go and find that file that my infant page was created. So I'm going to Portfolio, Unit 6, and then I'm grabbing my infant.html document. And again, checking this Make URL Relative. We always want to make that check that box if it's available. And then say OK. Same thing with our preschool button. Insert, Link. Oops. Go find our preschool file. Make sure, oops, that doesn't seem to have grabbed it. Grabbing preschool, open, make URL relative. Elementary, insert, link. So you're going to be doing this on each page, inserting your buttons, and then linking each button. It's going to my current page. And then, so those are all my Blue Griffin pages that I'm linking to. And now I want this page to actually link to my portfolio. So I'm going the same route, insert, link. And then, but now I'm going to go into my portfolio folder and link it to the My Portfolio file. So depending on what you named yours, make sure you're linking it to the correct file there. And so now when we preview this in the browser, all of our links should be working. So if I go to my infant page, it takes me to my infant page, and so you'll notice I already went through. So you might have to hit the back button to get back, but double check and make sure all of your pages work correctly. So you should already have all this information filled in. I did not fill out the rest of my pages, but you should by this point have them all completed, and then have this button that goes back to your portfolio. And so next I'm going to show you about that autobiography button. So on each page, like I said before, you need to insert those buttons and link them to the correct pages. And then again, you should have a home button that takes you back to your index page for your autobiography web page on all of these. Okay, so on the index page, you should have back to portfolio. On the rest of them, you should have a home that takes you back to this page. Okay, so once you're done with all your buttons, that should be submitted to the autobiography navigation bar Dropbox, and that's the last part for the Unit 6 project. And then the very last Dropbox, let me just get that open for you. So once you're done with the navigation bar, that needs to go into this graded assignment autobiography navigation bar Dropbox. Then what I'm going to show you next is the very final project for putting it all together. So I have my portfolio page, and at this point you should probably have this famous button in there. And so we're actually going to switch that out with a button that links to our autobiography page. So I need to open up this code in Notepad. And by this point you should have already recreated a button called autobiography to put on your portfolio page. So I'm going to go into my code. I'm going to find where that famous button is, and I'm going to switch it out. And I guess at this point I already have my linked information in there. So you're going to want to make sure you add this hyperlink code in front of your image code. So we have ahref equals unit 6/index. That's where I'm going to get to my, so here's where I'm starting. I need to go into unit 6 and link to my index file. That's where this button's going to take me. So I'm going into unit 6 and linking to index.html. And I want it for images. I need to go into my images folder. I'm going into images and I'm grabbing autobiography_button. So into images, autobiography_button. And remember to double check whether it's a PNG image. Mine's a PNG image, but that's going to change your file extension in your code. You might have a JPEG, so make sure you're paying attention to that. File save, and we'll refresh this page, and there's my autobiography button. So I should have, for the final project, a link to my invitation and a link back, a link to webmaster roles, a link back, a link to colors, a link back, and then a link to my autobiography and a link back to the portfolio. So now you can show this to friends and family. If you wanted, you could pay to get this hosted so it was actually accessible on the internet. But if you did want to share it with someone at this point and not have it hosted, you'd have to zip and send them your entire portfolio folder. And if you did that, anybody could access your portfolio webpage and access all these really cool web pages you've made throughout the course. So that is the final step, and this is what will be, you'll need to zip and submit your entire portfolio folder into that final project, putting it all together Dropbox. And then you're done.